welcome back, and today we're going to be making 4-ingredient pasta, carbonara. So eggs, cheese, the pasta itself, bacon, guanciale, or pancetta, whatever you have in your pantry. So start off, we're going to make our own dough. If not, I do recommend if you buy store-bought bucatini. That's probably my favorite shape of pasta for carbonara. And like always, this is 4 eggs to 1 pound of flour and then a couple tablespoons of water just in case if you need to add a little bit more hydration. And then just work that for 10 minutes or till it's nice and supple. We're gonna let that rest for at least 45 minutes, up to an hour, or in the fridge overnight. And while that rests, we're gonna get started on all our mise en place, so all of our other ingredients that we need for the carbonara. So we're gonna start with pancetta. And you're gonna only need about 4 ounces to 5 ounces for half a pound of pasta. So from there you can figure out how much you need. And we're going to cut these into long strips and then into cubes. And you're gonna wanna keep it as even as possible so that when rendering and cooking, it all does it at the same time. And if you can't find pancetta or guanciale, this is totally okay in the exact same method as with bacon. So kind of pick and choose what you can find in your stores or what you actually enjoy. Now in carbonara, what is the thickening agent and makes the sauce is the actual egg yolks. So we're gonna separate 3 egg yolks and try not to break it like I did there. And we're gonna separate it, keep that egg white. You can make a meringue or egg white omelet, whatever you like. But we're gonna keep them separate. And then from here, we're gonna essentially make a slurry using cheese. I'm using pecorino romano. You can use parmesan. Either one is fine. I just like pecorino. It's a little more gamey, a little more goat cheese and flavor. And we're gonna grate this into the egg and essentially make a slurry. So we're just gonna grate in about a half cup to a cup till it thickens. And this is what we're gonna use to add to the pasta and the bacon. And this is gonna create that sauce. So we're gonna add a good amount of this. And of course, you can always add a little bit more cheese later. So don't go too heavy-handed right now. And here you can see it's nice and thick, really bright yellow, and this is gonna be our thickening agent. For the pasta dough itself, we're gonna cut off a workable piece. And like always, as I'm sure you've seen, if you haven't, you can check out our pasta video. We're gonna roll this through the pasta machine, flatten it out, and we're gonna roll it in a couple times, fold it on itself to build that gluten. And we're gonna repeat this with all of those pieces of dough. And I like to bring this to the second to last setting on the machine, just to like get my pasta a little bit thicker for especially carbonara, just a little bit more of a bite. So we're gonna bring them all to that length, make sure we flour them so they don't stick on each other, because if not, it's an absolute disaster and you'll be crying by the end of it. Today, we're gonna be setting it through the tagliatelle cutting part. You can do this with a knife if you don't have this attachment, but it's super simple. You just stick it to the top and you take those sheets that you cut into about 8 inches in length to about a foot, and you just send it right through. And after being sent through, you're gonna wanna flour these so that they don't stick and you get a noodle nest that's an absolute disaster. So make sure as they go through the machine, just toss them a little bit of flour if they're a little wet. This is gonna save you a lot of heartache in the next part. All right, so this is now time to build your sauce. You have your water boiling because this is gonna go very fast. So into a cold pan goes your pancetta, bacon, or guanciale. We're gonna let that begin to render, and we're gonna add a lot of black pepper. I enjoy black pepper quite a bit. If you are a little more skittish about it, then user discretion is advised. And we're gonna let that render until it becomes aromatic. This should only take about 2 to 3 minutes. We are not looking for super crispy bacon or pancetta, and we're gonna add our pasta straight out of the water with a little bit of that pasta cooking liquid, and we're gonna toss it around. And you're gonna see here, as you add in that pasta water, it's gonna almost stick in because of that starch in the pasta. So we're gonna keep doing this, and our pasta isn't fully cooked, so we dipped it into the water. This applies the same if you have store-bought pasta. It's just gonna go in for about 75% of the way, and it's gonna come out, and we're gonna finish cooking it on the stove with the water and eventually those egg yolks. So once your pasta is looking good, you have a little bit of water in there, we're gonna take it off of the heat, and this is gonna go off the heat and let it cool a little bit because we're gonna add our eggs. If you add the eggs in when it's too hot, you're gonna scramble them. So we're gonna add in about a tablespoon at a time to 2, and we're going to mix this vigorously together. This is the part where it may get a little thick, and just by adding some of that pasta cooking liquid, you're going to adjust that thickness. So have your pasta water ready to go, and we're gonna kind of go back and forth between yolk and pasta water till you reach the consistency you like. I like mine to be quite thick. You can kind of thin it out depending on how you enjoy it. Do be mindful that there is salt in your pasta water and that the cheese itself that's now in the egg yolks is salty. So do taste it as you go and make sure you don't add too much salt. So we're just gonna mix this together, keep mixing it, and this can keep it from breaking and separating, and you're gonna make a delicious sauce at the same time. And that's it. If you bought store-bought pasta, this is gonna be a 10-minute process to 15 minutes, super quick. If you make your pasta yourself, a little longer, about 45 minutes, just because you're waiting for that dough. Super easy, extremely delicious. It's a crowd pleaser. Who doesn't like egg yolks, bacon, and cheese? So go ahead and plate that up. I do recommend eating this right away because those egg yolks will begin to dry in that sauce and it'll become kind of pasty and hard. But thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe.